So we have a translation. But Pandita one understands English.
Spanish, please.
No.
Yes.
If you need a translation, we can have the tapasya that I make one sentence and then stop and you translate peacefully. But we have to learn English here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya yatvanayati taratascha swavidya swarat tene brahmadi adikavaye muyanti yatsurayaha tejovari midang yatra vinimayo yatra tisargumirshaha tamnasvena saranirasta kukam satyam param timahi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ok, Manzarova, escoge el verso del día.
De una.
Del Srimad Bhagavatam, con todo el corazón, del médico de almas. Sácanos de la ignorancia con lo que tú has encontrado. Unfortunately, I cannot read the Sanskrit because it is so small. But it starts with Sa Uttama Shloka. Mahan Mukha Chuto Bhavat Padam Boja Shuddha Kananila Smritim Punar Vishmrita Tatra Vartmanam Katyo Dinam No Vitarati Alam Narai. My dear Lord, who's speaking? Lord Vishnu appears in the sacrificial arena. This is the 4th canto, chapter 20, text number 25. My dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. That means Uttama Shloka. Uttama, the highest, the biggest, the greatest. And Shloka is divine verses. Uttama Shloka. It's one name of Krishna, is also Uttama Shloka. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles. That's a typical Indian analogy, which in the West we are not accustomed to. Sprinkled with saffron particles. Saffron is a spice. It comes from Kashmir. They grow a lot of saffron there. And it is very expensive saffron. And people put it in some delicious preparations. You find some saffron. So here it is explained that your lotus feet is just like saffron particles in the shlokas, where the transcendental vibration from the mouths of great devotees carries the aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet. the forgetful living entity gradually remembers his eternal relationship with him. Devotees thus gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of life. My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotees. Wow. That is an incredible glorification. Really. It tells us how Harikatha is so amazingly important. To talk about the Lord and especially to listen to the pure devotees. That is essential. Srila Prabhupada explains. As it explained in the previous verse, that one has to hear glorification of the Lord from the mouth of a pure devotee. This is further explained here. The transcendental vibration from the mouth of a pure devotee is so powerful that it can revive the living entity's memory of his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In our material existence, under the influence of illusory Maya, we have almost forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord. Exactly like a man sleeping very deeply who forgets his duties. In the Vedas, it is said that every one of us is sleeping under the influence of Maya. We are all sleeping under the influence of Maya. We must get up from this slumber and engage in the right service. For thus we can properly utilize the facility of the human form of life. As expressed in a song by Thakur Bhaktivinod, Lord Chaitanya says, Jiv Jago, Jiv Jago. The Lord asks every sleeping entity to get up and engage in devotional service so that his mission in this human form of life may be fulfilled. Thus this awakening voice comes through the mouth of a pure devotee. A pure devotee always engages in the service of the Lord, taking shelter of his lotus feet, and therefore he has a direct connection with the saffron mercy particles that are strewn over the lotus feet of the Lord. Also, when a pure devotee speaks, the articulation of his voice may resemble the sound of this material sky. The voice is spiritually very powerful because it touches the particles of saffron dust on the lotus feet of the Lord. As soon as a sleeping living entity hears the powerful voice emanating from the mouth of a pure devotee, he immediately remembers his eternal relationship with the Lord. Also, up until that moment, he had forgotten everything. For a conditioned soul, therefore, it is very important to hear from the mouth of a pure devotee who is fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord, without any material desire, speculative knowledge, or contamination of the modes of material nature. Every one of us is kuyogi because we have engaged in the service of the material world, forgetting our eternal relationship with the Lord as his eternal loving servants. It is our duty to rise from the Kuyoga platform to become suyogis. Kuyogis and suyogis. Perfect mystics. The process of hearing from a pure devotee is recommended in the Vedic scriptures, especially by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One may stay in his position of life. It does not matter what it is. But if one hears from the mouth of a pure devotee, he gradually comes to the understanding of his relationship with the Lord and thus engage in his loving service. And his life becomes completely perfect. Therefore, the process of hearing from the mouth of a pure devotee is very important for making progress in the line of spiritual understanding. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini. It's a very, very, very important aspect. These are the instructions of Maitreya Muni. Maitreya is telling us a story of King Prithu. And in every shloka of the Bhagavatam, you will find some essential point touched upon, stressed. This is important. This is important. Of course, everything is important. The whole Srimad Bhagavatam is important, but every verse will emphasize a certain thing. And this Uttama Shloka, this is really making a point. That one has to hear from devotees. Now we may have a question about how pure a devotee has to be that you may want to listen from him. That is a big question. How pure a devotee? What is the purity? Now, we are very lucky because we got Srila Prabhupada. And his books are the basis. We are just reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are getting the pure devotee's description by the topmost devotee. So in that sense, we know we are all right. But what about the speaker? What about the speaker? Here we are facing a very interesting question. And the question is, should we preach if we still have material desires? Here, Prabhupada explains. He gives the qualification. I will try to find that again. A pure devotee always engages in the service of the Lord, taking shelter of his lotus feet, and therefore he has a direct connection with the saffron mercy particle that are strewn over the lotus feet of the Lord. Also, when a pure devotee speaks, the articulation of his voice may resemble the sound of the material sky. The voice is spiritually very powerful because it touches the particles of saffron dust on the lotus feet of the Lord. A pure devotee is fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord without any material desire, speculative knowledge, or contamination of the modes of material nature. It's a very high standard. Very high standard. On the other side, my Guru Deva, he has said that we should engage in preaching. So I have made that emphasis. Really. I emphasize for the devotee. If you want to become a good devotee, you have to give classes. This giving classes that makes the divine sound reverberate within you. You speak the truth. You speak the Uttama Shlokas, the verses glorifying the Lord. You speak the philosophy which can open our heart. And you, as a speaker, if you're not full of ego, immediately become an instrument of the Lord. Whoever speaks the Uttama Shlokis of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he becomes an instrument of the Lord, unless he totally disqualifies for that. There are some disqualifications. For example, to preach, to make money, that is not accepted as a high. Like some Bhagavata speakers, they're very famous, really, and they get so much money. Unbelievable amounts of money. But then you don't see that they do anything. Like Srila Prabhupada had no money and he started a world movement of Krishna temples and everything. Some of these Bhagavatacharyas say they have a place where they give the Harikatha, and the rest you don't know what they're doing with all the money. So Prabhupada said the Shabda Brahma, Bhagavad Shabdaha, the 7-day chanting of Bhagavatam, imitating Parikshit Maharaj, who heard 7 days the Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami, that if it is done with a material purpose of making money, it's becoming disqualified. One time there was a Bhagavad Shabdaha, and they did it right next to Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj. Because Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj was famous in Bengal. So somebody held the Shabda Bhagavat in front of his. Shabda Bhagavat is nice music, nice sound system, and they, for 7 days they have like program and some people listen. So after the Shabda Bhagavat was over, Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj told his disciple, please take cow dung and put it in water and sprinkle it all over this place to purify it. So the servant of Gokishore Babaji Maharaj asked, but Guru Dev, they just spoke the Bhagavatam for 7 days here. Why do you think I need to put cow dung for purification on this place? Then Gokishore Babaji Maharaj said, you heard the Bhagavatam? I just heard money, 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 money. So a pure devotee is not such a cheap thing. Srila Sridhar Maharaj helps us by saying a well-intentioned person is a kind of a pure devotee. He doesn't have ulterior motivation. He's not talking to you and trying to get something for you for actually catching something else or something like that. Like tricky person or so. If he's well-intentioned to repeat the message. Now, in Krishna consciousness, we are teaching Krishna's philosophy by the order of our spiritual master. He ordered us to do this, regardless of our personal standing. But of course, for your personal standing, you should also try to be the best you can. But I have a problem that in many places devotees are not feeling qualified to lecture. And what's the result? No classes in the morning and no classes in the evening in those places. They may even have a temple, they may have an altar, but if there's no preaching going on, then what's the use? Then the people come in there just like a cow. A cow takes darshan also, but she don't understand. So temples without preaching is not really auspicious. If there's no way to hear the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita and the Chaitanya Charitamrita, because nobody dares to speak. And why not? Because they will say, I'm not qualified, I'm not qualified, I'm not qualified. You have a question?
I want to share news that yesterday, Dharmanarayan Prabhu gave class in Universidad Sol by first time, and all the devotees were so happy. And he will continue giving all this week Srimad Bhagavatam class. The Vimas Prabhu's son.
Wow. That's glorious because he's a young son who comes from the Krishna conscious family. Thank you for the input. So, yes, we should preach. That's the order of Prabhupada. Otherwise, we have temples without lecture. And I tell, if a devotee has no chance to lecture, then at least give a class on the internet. Make a platform on the internet where you can tell people about Krishna every day, even if it's a TikTok. What's her name? Jivatarini? She's preaching on TikTok, and many people listening to what she does. And whether many people or little people coming, that's not the point. The point is we have to preach. And if we have a project, like a temple, like an ashram, then the preaching is even more important, because a temple without preaching will just go under. So therefore, the Uttama Shloka, which is described here, it is the over-empowerment. And because it's the over-empowerment, because it's the glorification of the Supreme Lord. So the combination of the highest message by the high devotees is the best. But the highest by the newcomer devotee is also good and also important. Like I'm telling this morning, I told Ramanuja, this is my daily activity, this is my sadhana. I cannot live without giving classes. This is my life and my soul. Please listen to me what I say about Krishna. And you are so merciful and you come and listen. That is your mercy upon me, that I can speak the Bhagavatam and try to enthuse you. And one thing is very important, he has always emphasized devotional service. We are preaching to people to do devotional service. Without devotional service, everything is just a business. If nobody makes the flower garland for Krishna from his heart, but that's just buy a flower garland, pay a pujari, everything is paid. Well, then it's not a temple of that type. Like in some of the temples, you know that pujari is there, they pay him. So he comes and he gives you a little drop of charanamrita and hopes you give some donation there on his plate. But there's no Shakti in his eyes. He doesn't want you to become Krishna conscious. You can see that in many temples. And then there's many temples that don't even have such a person. It's just empty. Just there's a deity. If you're lucky, you meet anybody there. So I have recommended to devotees all the time to preach. This is the best for them, and it's the best for the others who will get the chance to listen to them. If you preach, if you give out Krishna consciousness, then you get Krishna consciousness. You become Krishna conscious. When you listen to your own classes, you just, if you don't know what to say, if you don't feel any inspiration, read the next verse. If you spend the entire class only reading from Prabhupada's books, you have given the powerful Uttama Bhakta class. But if you feel, oh, I know this, it reverberates in me, let me say something. That makes it alive. Krishna consciousness becomes alive by the personal stories. The Bhagavatam is full of personal stories. So, what can I say? What can I say, my dear? I just repeat what I read. Hear, and speak. Shravanam, Kirtanam. Shravanam, Kirtanam. Radhesham is doing that in Chopron, and thousands of people listen to what he says because he heard it here. He heard it from Prabhupada, and he gives it again. In one way or another. If you give out a plate of prasadam, it's also wonderful. If you give out a book about Krishna, it's also wonderful. But you know that something is the most wonderful. You look in somebody's eyes and you say, please, listen to Lord Krishna's message. And you have a feeling, I am giving to you what I was told by my guru. Please, take it in your heart. It is my offering to your heart. Please, take Krishna in your heart. Is there anything else more important? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's just like if I go and invite you to a party. Sometimes in the material world there's big parties. Some rich family in India, very rich, they made a big marriage party. And they brought big stars there from all over the world. They paid a lot of money, you cannot even believe. The Andani, or no, I don't know what's they're called. In such a big marriage, unbelievable dimension. Spending many, many millions of dollars in just one party. But our Krishna Conscious Festival is chanting and hearing. Most likely they didn't have one lecture in that party there. Nobody spoke about Krishna. So it's all wasted money. And the people usually go to the party for drinking alcohol, smoking, and maybe even eating meat. Which I don't know if that marriage was with meat. I don't know. But they brought so many politicians, people from the world. I doubt they were all vegetarians. Hopefully. So, going to a party, getting a good job in this material world, getting a certificate from university, after studying there for many years. Tell me, what does it good to you? If you don't chant and preach, what is the benefit? Even if you own a big building or have big amounts of lands supposed to be yours, what's the use of that if you're not preaching? What is the use of a house which is not a temple? What is the use of a farm which is not an eco-farm? What is a big question. So we have to really think about it carefully, very carefully. How we can preach, where we can preach. It's our only thing. Sometimes devotees say, oh, we have to do so many practical things. Yes, if you want to preach somewhere, you have to pay the rent. If you want to sleep somewhere, you also have to pay the rent. If you have to eat somewhere, you also have to pay the rent. Or you own the building. Some people, they own a building and they think they're not paying rent. Ha ha ha, I'm not paying rent, I'm lucky. Not true. Your capital invested in the house or in the land, that capital produces a monthly revenue, some interest. So if you own the house, then this capital increasement is the rent you pay. So whether you pay rent or you have your own building, you pay rent anyway. So if you pay rent anyway, better make good use of it. Have you ever thought about that? That owning something means you're also paying? And if you own something very big, you pay a lot. If you own a palace, that's one of the reasons I'm in Yamuna Kunja right now, trying very hard to put some life in that place, which has not happened really for years, because we are paying rent. Krishna pays the rent because we are not we are not even the ones who paying. It's Krishna's place. A temple that's why Sanatana Goswami said it is 1,000 times more beneficial to repair an old temple than to make a new one. When I heard that, I said, no, I'm not making a temple for our devotees. I'm going to find an old temple which is falling apart and I'm going to repair it. And that's what we did. This is an old temple, very old. So much chanting has happened here. So many offerings were made here to the deities. So many dances were held in the garden. Even in the last 40 years, we also did so many beautiful programs here. Because it's for Krishna's pleasure. You can even say, what's the use of my body if I'm not speaking the holy name and speaking about Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna? What is the use of my tongue if I just speak gossip or speak any nonsense? What is the use of my eyes if I cannot see Thakurji and read the books? What's the use of my touch if all I'm touching is for sense gratification? But if I'm touching for service, I can make beautiful flower gardens, I can make beautiful arches, I can make paintings, I can organize a nice project of Krishna consciousness. You get my point? What's the use of life if there's nothing to do with Krishna? And that's why people are frustrated, because they're living their life and they're not doing anything for Krishna. So our preaching is, hey, do something for Krishna. You, yes, you, do something for Krishna. Then they say, well, what? Well, then you have to have a connection with a devotee you trust, and you help that devotee you trust to do something. And if you don't see any devotee you trust, then you have to do something on your own. Look at my Guru Deva. He was trying to serve in the Gaudiya Maths. He went to several Gaudiya Maths and lived there. With Goswami Maharaj, with Keshava Maharaj, a few temples, and he talked to many devotees, and he could not find his service there. Because his service was given to him to preach to the English-speaking people. He had gotten that direction from his Guru Dev. So he was trying to do there, No, he could not get to the point. And he was successful. Prabhupada, before he took sannyas, or when he was still in a Gaudiya Math helping, he was a respected preacher. He was always respected also as a poet. He wrote beautiful poetry. Adore the holy day, more blessed than heaven, sweeter than May. When he appeared in Puri, the divine place, my Lord and Master, his divine grace. That was his shloka, which he composed to glorify Guru Deva Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. So Prabhupada but he could not find his message. So then he had to get up, live in Vrindavan, write books in a room, print them in Delhi, get a ticket to America and start preaching. Can you imagine going to another country, you have no friend, you have nobody, and you're going there with a few boxes of books to preach? Unbelievable, the whole thing. But why? Because Prabhupada could not find his service in the temples of his godbrothers. The temples of his godbrothers, anyway, they're also good. They continue their preaching. Like Imlitala. Imlitala belongs to Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj. His mission, Bhakti Surit Akinchana Maharaj. We go there very often for Mangal Artik. And that was started by Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, and Prabhupada lived in Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj's temple and was managing their magazine. Prabhupada always did something, he always managed something. He was never inactive. Some people, they think only chanting and listening is enough, but that's not what we learned from Prabhupada. He always told us, do something, do something, do something. So we do something. Well, do you know how much do something is behind Vrinda Kunja? Or behind Saraswati Kunja? How much do something? Fix this, fix that, fix the roof, make this. Janavi Kunja. How much work is there? Unbelievable. Even here, just keep it clean and workable, functionable. That is already a big deal. Of course, if you have Bima and Mansarova there, it is all easily done. We can do so many things, so many sevas, so many nice things. So I see that we have to hear the Uttama Shloka. But who is going to speak the Uttama Shloka? If there is no speaker, who are you going to listen to? And here's another thing. I've been preaching in many places, like Bolivia, like Argentina, Tucumán, La Pampa. So many places I went in my life, there was no devotee. And we preached and preached and preached. You know that, Julian, you have seen it. And then there's one devotee, two devotee, one devotee family, then four devotees, then they come together, then they make a program, then they have an altar, and then I'm gone. I'm gone. I can't go back there. I have no time. I have no energy to go back. Now it depends on them that the Krishna consciousness continues in that location. If they are not going to do it, then the thing is going to die out. Like, we call that extinction. Species extinction. When any kind of animal is becoming rarer and rarer because people kill them, usually hunters, poachers, then at some point the government declares this is a species in danger of extinction, so we cannot hunt it anymore. So the extinction of Harikatha, if the Guru don't initiate any single disciple, then the seed his Guru put in his heart will be extinct. That's why we have a dynamic family. Dynamic family. You got the seed from your Guru to plant it again and again and again. And they have to, the children have to plant it again and again and again. In this way only the seed, the message, will not become extinct. It's a very sad thing when something becomes extinct. If these books are not printed, you know that a book like this, because of the acid content in the page, it will not last more than 100 years. After 100 years, when you touch this page, it will fall apart. Then you may take it page by page to have some preservation technique and maybe saving them. Old books are all finished. So if you don't reprint the books, they will be finished. So therefore, devotional service is so full of action. If you don't worship the Lord, then that puja, that archana is finished. You just have dust. The other day I went to some devotee's house. I won't say the name. And I saw his altar. And there was like a big amount of dust on the entire altar. You know, when there's dust and you make with a finger like this, Say, oh, very dusty. But that was so dusty. So if you have an altar and you don't clean the altar, then your devotion in this altar becomes extinct also. So we have to be in action. We have to. Harikatha means action. Even Akanda Kirtan, 24-hour kirtans. Yes, it's a lot of action, a lot of beating the drum. Huh? A kirtan without drum, without kartals, and at the end without voice, no more kirtan. So I humbly beg you, I beg you, I don't order you, I beg you, preach the Uttama Sloka everywhere and every day in your life, and create environments where the Uttama Sloka is going to be well attended. Like I'm coming here in the morning. If nobody comes to my class, why should I come here? So you're very, very kind to me that you come here. And then I go to Yamuna Kunja. Not to sleep. I go to Yamuna Kunja to help to get one of our projects which we have had here in India for many, many years, to get it finally well organized, because I never organized it. Some other people tried. Mayapur, Prishni, here in Vrindavan, different people, Hridai. Some people tried. I never tried personally. The only time I tried personally was when I took the group on Braj Mandal Parikrama. And then I told everybody, look, we are coming to this holy place. Can you see it's very dirty? So before I'm going to tell you about the wonderful glories of this place, I want us to go out and clean this place. And sometimes we filled 14, 15, 20 bags of garbage from any place. And then we had to look how to bring that to Vrindavan, that we can put it here on the garbage dumping. In other words, that's the only time I was really involved. Otherwise, my personal involvement was more thinking how to get it done. So now, by the grace of Krishna, now at this point, we not only have our Bhakti Devi cleaning, which is amazing. I am so grateful and impressed by what she's doing. But we also got all of a sudden a connection with the municipality cleaners. Now we can call them and they come with a truck and pick up the garbage, which we, in the past, we had to bring our garbage truck all the way to the dumping ground, which is in the Sabji market, which is on the Aligarh Road. That's where we had to bring the garbage. At some point, I got a donation and I gave 16 rickshaws to the municipality because they were not collecting. At that time they had no. Now you see cars, mechanical, professional trucks going around and collecting garbage that you never seen here before. This is all because of the pushing which we do. And for me, right now, a big part of my job is to keep pushing those politicians to make sure it's done and to make sure they allow us to do the part which they don't do. For example, the beach, on the Yamuna beach, they never had road cleaners there. Now, another thing happened. Many other missions are coming to Yamuna Kunja and joining with us to clean. Even Pundari Goswami, the famous Goswami with his wife, went personally out on the Yamuna to clean the sewage from the dirt from the nully. If I would have seen that picture 15 years ago, I would never believed. What? A Goswami picking up filth from a nully? But it's true. These things are happening. So I have to be in Yamuna Kunja, and I have to keep pushing to make that thing actually come through, because there's still lots missing. It's unbelievable garbage. And to me, that is my service to Srimati Radharani. And I don't appreciate it if anybody disturbs that service. Because this is something which has happened by Krishna's grace. By Krishna's grace. I have the time to be here. I have the visa to be here. It is my volunteering for the service to Radharani. Yes, I also can clean. I also want to clean my heart. That's why I keep giving the Bhagavatam classes. That's why I keep preaching wherever I go. But to organize the cleaning, this is the first time this is getting into movement. And with the help of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math, we have a great possibility, because the first time we get some financial support for the cleaning. Before we had to get the money from South America. Can you imagine that? South Americans sending money for cleaning the street in India. Sounds ridiculous, because South America is very poor. At least our devotees are poor. And here, India is, you cannot, I mean, it's unbelievable, the opulence in all the temples. I mean, they have temples here. Everything is of gold. I don't think we have 1 gram of gold on our altar anywhere in the Vrinda mission. And if we would have gold on the altar, then the thieves would come and steal it. So, different times, different places. So, but for me Vrindavan, Braj Mandal, and for me Bharata Mata, the whole Indian subcontinent, and even more, according to our acharyas, Bharatavarsha was the entire world in the past. Okay, but let's start with Vrindavan. Okay? Swaj Braj first. Then we can do Swaj Bharat, and then we can do Swaj the world. It's okay. But here it got to be clean first. So, then I ask you another thing. Why did Krishna give us a Yamuna Kunja? Why did he give us a Vrinda Kunja? If you go around, you will not find any other foreigner having a temple. Any other group of foreigner having a temple, you will not find in the whole of Vrindavan. Some temples have a few foreign members, yes, but foreigners running a temple? None. And why we not only got temple, but we got the most beautiful one. We got the location next to Imli Tala on the Yamuna. This is you can call it prime real estate. It's like very costly to be there or to have this peaceful environment. All of Vrindavan is almost going crazy now by the noise, by everything. You come to Vrindakunja, you say, wow, what a peaceful, wonderful place with such a beautiful temple. So my question was, why did Krishna give us this? Did we deserve it? And my answer was no, we don't deserve it. We got it to do some service, to reciprocate with some service. Not just come here, Hare Krishna, happy, 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 nice prasadam, nice sleeping, and then you go home. No, we are here to do some seva to Vrindavan. And my Gurudev gave me the order. Vrindavan has to be cleaned. Vrindavan has to fix the old broken temples, the beautiful historical shrines. These historical shrines, they were all built by kings. There were many, many kings in India before partitioning. And those kings, they had beautiful kingdoms, and they will all come in Kartik to Vrindavan with people, with many people. Like today, the missions are coming everywhere with many people. But at those times, the kings were coming with many people. And they built this beautiful medieval palace. And now these palaces are falling apart. I mean, they are not palaces, they are all temples. Everyone has a deity inside. And the Pandavali Kunja we adopted. The deities were stolen. Vrinda Kunja we adopted. The deities were stolen. Dauji Mandir we adopted by Gurudev's grace, but the original deity were there. Then the original deity of Gornitai, of Tapana Mishra, and the Radha Govinda deities, they were given to us to take care because the building was falling apart, and they are now in Dauji Mandir. Historical. Vangsi Kunja, also the deity was stolen. But when we got there, they already had purchased a new one, but the original deity was stolen. And so in this way, we are trying to do seva to Vrindavan. And I can have a mountain of gold, diamonds here, or more than that, Krishna, the deity. But if around this I have filth and garbage, you will all go, ooh, and go away. Nobody likes to see filth and garbage. That's why they throw it out of the window, out of the door. We don't want the filth. We don't want the garbage. We want a clean place, satvik, gobar, nicely. But for us, we have learned from our Guru Deva that all of Braj Mandal is a dham, a holy place, a sanctuary. So if it's a sanctuary, it can't be dirty. So if we're trying to clean it, and I repeat that, I'm right now in Yamuna Kunja trying to organize this. I've never done that before. And I appreciate anybody who helps me or at least leaves me alone. Because what we are doing there is very, very important service to Radharani. And I don't care who helps me. I receive the help of anybody. The mayor of this part of the city, he came there. We went together along the Yamuna side with that gentleman. And he himself was talking to the shop owners. Hey, organize this, don't put your garbage here. So we are getting some positive response. But there's a lot of corruption. Now the government is giving for cleaning something like 80 lakhs a month for Vrindavan or something. With this they could clean Vrindavan 100%, but so much money filtered away to other places. But that's not our job, that's not our problem. We are not here to eliminate corruption from the Indian administrative service. That's not our job. And if we would try to make it our job, we'd probably be killed tomorrow. So this is not our job, is to get Radha Kunda. How has changed? Who has seen Govardhan? Who has seen Govardhan 30 years ago? That was totally filthy. None of you have been here in those days. But now Govardhan is clean. Things have changed. The walls are painted. Before there was no wall painted at all. Everything is changing for the better, for the better. So, we are just humble little servants here. We are not important, but the work we are doing is important. So please, if you want to come, every night at 6 o'clock, I give class Istagosti for environmental seva of any kind. Not only this dirt, the sound pollution. The sound pollution is terrible. You're going somewhere, you want to sit and meditate, and the speaker is blurring high pitch. You cannot even talk with somebody. That sound pollution is prohibited by law. But the people don't know. They have a speaker, they pull it up to the fullest. That's all they know. Because, I don't know. And it goes on like that. Now we have the nullies still running in the Yamuna. That has to stop. We are offending Yamuna by having the nullies run in there. But who can change that? Me not. But the politicians can. They have the power. They can make an STP. But I can there and poke them. I can say, hey, nullies running in the Yamuna, where's your devotion? And then they go, sorry. Huh? What about all this parking on the Yamuna? What is this, a parking place, or is this a sanctuary lane of going to the holiest river in earth, where Krishna was on top of Kaliya killing the demons, and you're bringing the Kaliya right in front with all kinds of dirt? So, there's a lot of work to do. So please, you help me. You help me. And I'm very grateful that Krishna sent an environmental PhD to give some help, to give some words in that. So we try to work it all out, but where do you get an environmental PhD? Tell me where you get one. If you have an extra one, send them to me. And we are trying to do that service for Prabhupada. Now, if somebody doesn't care for it, and somebody doesn't, or whatever it is, then no problem. No problem. Just leave us alone, do our service. For me, Yamuna Kunja has to really give a World Vaishnava Association, that's another one. Vaishnavas, you know, Vaishnavas, there's a saying in South India, Sadhu Asanganam. It says Vaishnavas or mystics, Indian mystics, they never get along with each other. Sounds funny, no? Another thing says every Muni has its own opinion. If he doesn't have his own opinion, he's not a Muni. So, but we have certain things we have to accomplish. For example, we have to stop meat selling and alcohol selling in the Dham. That's not appropriate. That's very irrespectful. I just found a whiskey bottle inside Vrinda Kunja thrown in our garden. I don't know who in the hell did that, but imagine that. People drinking whiskey in Vrindavan. And it's being sold. There's liquor stores. They should be banned. Who can ban them? The government? Who can ban the animal slaughter in the sacred Dham? Who can stop the prostitution in the holy Dham? Only powerful people can do that. Now they say, yes, we want to do it, but if you don't push, if you don't organize. So I beg you very much, I love you all very much, and I wish you all very, very great success in your service. If Krishna is merciful upon me with the help of bhakti and whoever else wants to be part of it, we going to clean up Brajmanda. I still have energy. I can still go out. I can pick up my self-garbage. I have no problem. But I also have to talk with people. And now the situation, ISKCON volunteers we have, Premananda volunteers we have, Chaitanya Gaudiya Math volunteers we have. We have never been in such a good situation as today. Never. Be tolerant, be enthusiastic. For me, cleaning Vrindavan is also Harikatha. It's just like glorifying the Uttama Shloka. Because the Uttama Shloka is describing the most beautiful, handsome Lord of all. The most incredible. And we go there to unite the Vaishnavas. Vishwa Vaishnava Raj Sabha. Govinda Maharaj. Nobody liked him when he came. But he did some service for uniting the Vaishnavas. And he's coming here and there's love. So, what to do? Huh? What to do? Tolerate. Says toleration is the greatest matras pashastu kauntiya shitoshna shuka dukada. The devotee, he is supposed to be very tolerant. Which does not mean you cannot correct the mistakes. If there are mistakes, yes, we should correct them. But how? With love. With love you can correct the mistakes. Any idiot can throw another person out of a temple. You don't need to be a scholar for that. You just say, get out. That's what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada said, any idiot can kick out another from a temple. But those who are loving and really caring, they can correct the people. We are a correctioner institute, correcting people. That's what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada said, my temples are hospitals. They're full of sick people. I don't know if you are more sick than me, but we are all sick people. And that's why the Mahamantra and the mercy of our spiritual master has come to us to cure us. To cure us from illusion. Thank you very much. I hope you understand my heart. Radhe, Radhe, Radhe.